All right, the Lions are praising a young defensive lineman that's really important to the team. Before we get into that, let me know your ranking of Detroit sports right now, as far as your fandom. Is it Lions one? I mean, it just is for everybody. Lions one, Tigers, Red Wings, Pistons. I think I'm Lions one by a mile, just because the other three are just not doing great. But I'm Lions one, Red Wings, Tigers, and then Pistons are not even on the radar. There's been so bad and it's so like hard, so frustrating. So let me know in the comments where you're at right now. It's summertime, kind of where the latest is. Okay, Levi on Wuzurike still has a legitimate shot to make an impact. Here's what coaches had to say. Levi has had a really good spring. This is from Dan Campbell. Then you go down here and you've got Shepard, Kelvin Shepard, the linebackers coach. So he's a linebackers coach. I mean, really doesn't have to be talking about a D lineman. Goes out of his way to say Levi is another D lineman I want to shout out. A guy that's has worked through injury and is really progressing. A guy that we're excited to play behind this year as well. They, as in the linebackers. So this is an article from Pride Detroit talking about some takeaways from the offseason so far. And Levi's one that's so important because remember, he was Brad Holmes' first true draft pick. And I say true because, Penei Sewell that was one that it was like, all right, that's a no-brainer. Not a no-brainer, but, he falls to you or whatever. He's there. It's Penei Sewell. It's done. Then it like, gets into like, all right, next pick. What are you going to do? It's like, well, we're going to draft this guy, Levi on Wuzurike. And you're like, okay. And he comes from Washington. And at that time, it was in 2021. So it was COVID. And, he hadn't played. And you're just kind of wondering what's going on. And he has back surgeries and back injuries. And he just hasn't played. And so it's like, man, if this guy can be who they thought and picked him up early in the draft in 2021, oh my gosh, it's huge because there's Broderick Martin, Josh Pascal, and Wingo's the new guy. But Levi is just somebody that's got the size that we're looking for and can just be really big depth piece on the offensive or on the defensive line. Dan Campbell said Josh Pascal too, but Levi because where he's come from and all he's had to do. I mean, this guy just continued to rehab. He's continued to train his body. Love it, love it, love it. So really good stuff there. Other things that they talked about here, the kicker competition. I think we're all excited about that. I've never been so excited about kickers, but I think we just truly miss the big leg, the threat of let's just kick a field goal. We're on the 36. Let's kick a field goal. Instead, it's like, I don't know if we can make it, or it's like, come on. So let's get a big leg in there. I love that. The other thing that I really like is the cornerback room improvements seem real. What the Lions did this offseason is what they were trying to do last offseason with Cam Sutton. You bring in this Cam Sutton guy, Emmanuel Mosley, and you're like, let's go. Cam Sutton it was such a super quick fall from like, man, this guy's pretty good. He's our number one. And then all of a sudden he's terrible. Emmanuel Mosley gets hurt. Jerry Jacobs suddenly is just terrible. So the next thing we're left with Vildor and Cam Sutton, and it was really bad. So now everyone is talking about Carlton Davis. That has been the one. If you just you do this, you make videos and you talk about things. Carlton Davis is one that continues to just come up. Everyone's like, "Yep, love it." And I think his style of play, physical, fits into what the Lions are trying to do. So Carlton Davis and Terrion Arnold. In many people's, he was the best corner in the draft, and we got him all the way in the 20s. And if he's not the best, he's second. Fine. But Terrion Arnold is a really good player that we got all the way at the back of the first round. Also, Detroit is still very high on Emmanuel Mosley, who we should expect to see at the start of training camp. So Emmanuel Mosley cannot help but just feel for this guy's lost now 2 years, both ACLs. It's like, gee whiz. Even Amik Robertson has held his own against guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta. So there's just depth. There's players there. I mean, I think this is going to be it's going to be huge. because we want to play man coverage. We want to get up in and be aggressive. And it's very difficult to do that when you can't cover. Duh. Thank you. Okay. Jack Campbell poised for biggest year 2 jump. We've seen this a ton where Jack Campbell just seems like the guy, right? He plays hard, he plays physical, and he was in the right spots last year, but a step behind. It just felt like he was a step behind and was there, made the play, but the running back gained 4 yards. And it's just like, okay, good tackle. But you could tell, man, one step sooner, he could have been in the hole, stopped it for a 1-yard gain. I mean, those are the little things that Jack Campbell's got the physical traits. Remember his RAS score, he was one of the all-time highest scoring linebackers in the history of football since they started keeping track of all those stats on their physical, how fast they are, quick, strong, all those things, explosiveness. Jack Campbell ranks right up there with Brian Urlacher. So he's got all the physical stuff. It's just like, man, just literally needs experience. And so to have his second year, hello, like, let's go. And then another one, Giovanni Manu, don't expect to see him in 2024. Now this is, I don't know. It's like you kind of wanted to see this guy, and it's hard to draft a long-term project in the 4th round. It's never fun. Like, that's not what you want. Because in the NFL, you can draft. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown was a 4th round pick, right? So you can get guys in the 4th round. So you never like taking a project, but the fact that he's so big, so strong, got the potential. We've got tackles. Well, Taylor Decker's getting older, so he could be tackle. He could be a guard. You don't know. It's hard to see a guy sit. So I think it's like, just have your expectations ready for that. Here's an interesting one I thought was the way they worded this, has significantly improved, but needs to grow more. I was admittedly pretty excited to see that for myself. And early on, Williams didn't disappoint. His route tree looks broadened. He was more crisp. However, but there's still plenty of kinks to work out before he gets where he needs to be. There's still very noticeable inconsistency in his hands and his chemistry with Goff. I get that too, right? So that's one of the things with Jameson Williams is like, where's he at? Is he good? Is he bad? Is he the kind of guy that we need? There's a lot of questions with him, but even questionable, Jameson Williams is still incredible player and somebody that we can absolutely use just to take the top off the defense. I mean, you saw that last year. It was just like, he just goes straight. Amon-Ra, Sam Laporta comes in behind him. 15-yard gain all day long. So I can't wait to see that. So again, let me know your ranking of Detroit sports at this current moment. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and we'll see all of you on the next one.